Hey people, this project should be more fun than a root canal, I hope. What you're looking at is the image from the backup camera that's going to be installed, and since you're watching this video, hopefully it was successful. It's really pretty straightforward, except that it's meant for a truck, for a car, and I'm putting it on a truck. So it's wired, it's not wireless. And even if it was, it's still, you know, they say that with the wireless you have more chance of getting interference, radio interference. So figuring going to 20 feet length, I figured I'd be better off this way. Plus the price for this was really good. You can see the image there. I mean, it's really pretty decent. Hopefully by the end of the video we'll have it attached. Of course, if you turn it upside down, put it on wrong, it'll be the image will be upside down. So, so it's reasonable as far as I'm concerned for what it has to do. Really straightforward. The wiring. This is the part that'd be up front, of course, in the truck, and the yellow is the cable for the camera. And then the white doesn't get used. That's if you plug it in a GPS or something, which I'm not, or something to record with or whatever. And then this wire runs to, up front it's going to take a power from somewhere. And in this case, I'm going to solder this on, and it's going to take power from this cigarette lighter so that it'll be interchangeable. If we want to be able to use the monitor in the other car and just get another camera, be able to do that. So in real life it won't be hooked up like this. I just have this hooked up to a 12 volt power supply so we can see it working. So from this side, from the front of the cab, we go out the door somehow and down the truck, which I think I have this figured out. We'll see when we get outside. And then it runs to the back of the truck, and this part here will be, sometimes they attach it to the backup lights, and then it only turns on when the truck is in reverse. But I'm going to have it on all the time. I'm going to be taking the power from the light that lights the license plate, and I'll have power. And mainly that's because I don't want to have to run the wire over a gap. And again, you'll see that when we get outside. This part bolts to the top of the license plate bracket. The camera is adjustable here, such a thing, and then tighten the two set screws when it's finished, when it's all, you know, installed. So the set screws will be on the bottom, obviously. I have to remember that later, otherwise I'll put it in upside down. And then, because in order to get the power from the backup lights, I'd have to go through the gap from the bumper to the box, and this way I won't have to do that because there won't be a gap. In other words, the tailgate won't be in the way, and no problem. So it's much easier to just go stay down below where everything is. This part I don't know where it's going to go on the dash yet, so right now it's optional. It does have the double-sided tape underneath, but I'm not going to do a full installation when I get out there yet. So this is what it looks like, somewhere before we go outside I'm going to tin these wires just for, it's recommended for, if you're doing wires you should tin them first, and then I'm going to do the soldering on that one after. No sense getting ahead of myself. And anyways, I'll see you outside. Hey people, today's November 3rd, and as hard as it is to believe, it is beautiful, 68 degrees, perfect day to be crawling around under a truck. This here piece of pipe, it's from the old 1-inch sump pumps. So I just hooked it on here with wire. It goes from right up front by the seam of the door where I plan on running the wires into the cab. And it goes all the way to the back. I can probably get you a better view from the back itself. with about 1 inch to spare, 2 inches maybe. And I'm going to run the wire from the camera in there. I'm also going to run the wire for the camera power in there. Let me go back there and show you why. The pipe comes out. Hello? Right here. The end is right over here. So I have that much space. You can see that gap up there. So the wire is going to come down the tag here. It's going to be, camera be right up here on these 2 screws. And then the wire will come down the back there. And I got plenty of place to connect it. I can connect it right here. I can't see what I'm aiming at. Right here, and put the excess wire up out of the way, and then make the run down there. Alright, be back later when I get a little more done. Hey people, it's the next day. It's still beautiful. It's probably 70 degrees. I'm almost sweating. Hopefully this is going to be the last day of this project. I started without you. Let's go take a look. Anyway, the device is on the back of the truck. The wire goes right down on the side of the plate right here. Comes out here. This is on top of, I'll see if I can get you under there. This will be on top of the pole, on top of this bar. And then the pipe is right here. And it goes in there. So I ran an old piece of, you know what here, a piece of coax. It's firm enough. I'm going to tape that end to this end here. This end I kind of braided them and hooked them together. This part here is a splice. I soldered that last night. I want to keep moisture out, otherwise you know what happens with wires and moisture. So this is a splice to an extension. I don't know if I mentioned it or not. I'm going up front with both, because once the trail is on here, it doesn't matter if there's a backup camera or not. So this way I can just pull the plug. It comes out up here. I believe I showed you the pipe yesterday. The wire will come out. Comes out right up front here, and then it's going to come into the cab right along here. So then here's the wire from here that goes to the power supply, and then I just plug it in here. So I'll have to come out and solder this one later. That one's going to be power supply for both, so it's going to do the wire that comes to the tube. It's going to do this other scrappy little wire. This is really kind of low-end wire here. It gets a little thicker after you tin it, but still it's not much to it. And then from the old days, I do have this piece of extension if I need it. It looks like it's going to go right through from the back there, so I probably won't need it. I think it's 19 feet long, and that should be plenty to come up to where I need to be. So it's really tough to do all the bending and jumping around when I'm holding the camera. So I'll bring it back when I get a little further. Besides, I gotta go see what herself bought. She's got some groceries and maybe have a nooner. You know what I mean, to have lunch. Oh, and one other thing, yesterday's video should be pretty heavily edited because I screwed up. This camera has a button here that you push in low light, but it doesn't have sense to know that it's in bright light, so it just amplified everything, and that's why everything looked washed out. So hopefully you didn't see too much of that. I tried to edit out anything that wasn't essential. So I'll catch you later. Well, there it is, people. We have an image. Now the interesting thing is the wiring doesn't work the way it looked in the instructions. According to the instructions, the camera should be powered in one end of the truck or the vehicle, and the receiver here, the monitor should be up front, and each should have a source of power. So I ran that extra wire, and it turns out that I don't need all three of these. I don't think I need this extra. Now, if I take the ground off here, the common, all I have is the extra one now that's supposed to, that's the extra power from the back. Somehow it grounds through the video because it's still on. So I got to figure this out later, early in the day. It's a little late, too late now in the afternoon. This part is adjustable here, the base, so it could be in. Gotta just make sure it doesn't block airbags and stuff like that, or I don't know. Hard to say where it's gonna go where it's not blocking something, but so hopefully I'll figure this thing out when I'm more alert and awake and it's not too hot, and then I'll do the soldering. And as you probably noticed, the engine's not running. These things are powered. All three of them are powered all the time, so it won't be necessary to unplug it, which is no more difficult than turning the heat off or the radio or whatever. Okay, it's still Wednesday. Right now it's sitting up there, and then the wires come down here for now. And this way, if I want to or need to, I can unplug it if we're, you know, going to be in a neighborhood or whatever. I could take it away and not have it visible. And then the wires go, well, you see where they go. They go in there, and they go up there, and they do come out. It's kind of a redneck duct tape job, but at this point, when you look at the mats and stuff, I mean, the truck itself still looks pretty good, but it is a 2002, and the mats are on the way. I got to replace mats, so anyway, that's how it's going to be. Hey people, I didn't expect to bring you back, but I wanted to add one more comment. That's the finished installation down there. Right now it's just attached, well, it's hanging off the ashtray, but it's, you know, until we figure out where to put it. All the wiring, as much as you can see under there, is concealed. It comes out over here, but it's not in the way of anything. What I wanted to mention is I came out yesterday to do the soldering, and I did it, and everything was nice and tight, and as it should be, and it didn't work. And it turns out that in the plug there's a fuse, and somewhere along the way I didn't solder with the thing plugged in, so I don't know when the fuse blew, but that's what it was. So after I tested for continuity and all that shit, I finally found out what the problem was and just replaced the fuse before I started replacing wires, which is what I was going to do, start redoing connections and put on a new plug instead. And so I didn't have to go that far. It was just a matter of, sorry about the finger, it was just a matter of changing a fuse. So that's what it looks like. I see why they say distance can be deceptive, but they have those lines in the back telling you when you're getting too close. I just backed up a foot away from a bush, and it was no big deal. I mean, it does work. It does do what it's supposed to do. The wiring is all secure, and so if you have to put it in a long truck, this is something, a method you might want to consider. Say goodbye to the pilot. Bye, pilot. Drive safe. And thanks for watching.